Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, everybody at home. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. There are some big games today. Man United versus Liverpool. Come on, Manchester United. But first, we're going to be answering some big questions that you guys have been sending in all week. As always, Christopher Hamill, Patrick Van Straten are preparing answers.
There he is, the polar bear from the Coke.
The polar bear, look at him. Sponsored by Coke now.
Validated
So
comment,
this is
bit.
Patrick's last Sunday Vibes. Next week he's a millionaire. First question comes from Jack O'Reilly on Twitter. What do you think of the 48-team World Cup? Big talking point this week. Chris Hamill, just explain firstly, like actually what's happening, because it's still pretty confusing, isn't it?
It is. Let's give you guys the crux of it. Basically, the various territories have been given extra places to accommodate for, more countries. This is a democratic ruling from the outside looking in, at least. Africa, let's start with them. They would get 4 new places, and using the current rankings, DR Congo, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, and Ghana would qualify.
Okay. Some decent teams
So
in there.
far, we're not watering down the quality.
No, there's decent teams in there.
And Ghana are actually ranked 53 in the world at the moment, and they just about scrape in. The Black Stars, obviously, have been to the quarterfinals, so good pedigree there. Asia, this is where it gets a little bit suspect.
Yeah.
Obviously not as much a part of their culture, so we don't expect the teams to be quite so stocked with quality.
Yeah.
They get an extra 4.5 places, mate.
4.5
Yes.
for half for her.
I thought you may ask that. Twizzle my moustache. Basically, another territory, North America, is given a half as well.
Okay.
And the two halves compete against each other for the final place at the World Cup. In this instance, it'd be Qatar versus Curacao from North America. So huge.
I've never even heard of that
tie
country.
there.
Well, that's your fault.
Curacao.
I think.
Unbelievable.
No, that's Panama, I was going to say. I think the guys escaped their prison break. But no. So the Asian teams that will currently qualify, Iran, South Korea, Japan, Australia. That's fine so far. Then we go down to the likes of Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, the UAE, China, and Qatar.
Suspicious that those bottom 4 just suddenly sneak in.
All better than Scotland.
So, less so. Yeah, they would give Scotland a game. True that. Europe, they get 3 more places. Pretty rudimentary. Republic of Ireland, Turkey, Slovakia. All teams with decent pedigree. Still not going to make a dent in the tournament. North America, who only got 3 places before.
Yeah.
They also get 3.5. They're big beneficiaries of this. But Panama, Haiti, and Honduras would qualify at the moment, with that half Curacao obviously playing Qatar. So,
cool. Some dog turd teams in there.
Dog turd, but great for those nations that get to finally participate in something of this size.
Yeah,
I mean, they are going to be the whipping boys of the tournament. Oceania only get 1 place because, no one's really bothered about New Zealand. And no, it's a lovely place, full of lovely people. I care. So, South America still only get 6 places. Obviously, huge continent, but Brazil's massive, so there's not actually that many countries in it.
Good teams there, though. There's loads of good teams.
Yeah, the 5th
down
and
there.
6th teams, the newbies that would qualify with the current rankings again, are Uruguay and Peru.
They're decent teams. Uruguay in
So
particular.
very decent teams, mate. I'm still undecided, not very helpful for the sakes of a talk show. But Pat has some very good points he was talking to me about earlier that he's going to segue into right now.
Well, I think
What do you
basically
think?
the argument here is that we're going to be watering down quality, right,
Yeah.
at the World Cup, and we're going to end up with kind of one-sided games and blowouts and stuff. Well, I don't think that's really true. I mean, we're seeing the number of those decrease over the years anyway, probably because the best players at the best clubs who are playing for some of the biggest nations, they have really taxing seasons these days. And also, people who are going to the World Cup for the first time, they're really up for it. They really want to do well. So at the last World Cup, we expected Argentina to smash Iran. They beat them 1-0. The most one-sided game at the last World Cup was between Germany and Brazil. What does that tell you? Also, we get rubbish games between good teams all the time. We get good games between poor teams. Gianni Infantino said that he was going to expand the World Cup. He said he was going to give more money to kind of smaller footballing nations. And that is what they're going to do. 85% of FIFA's income comes from the Men's World Cup. And so in order to expand revenue, to give more money out, they need to expand the World Cup. And I don't have a particular issue with it. They still say they can do it in a month. They say that there won't be any extra games for teams who go all the way. So it shouldn't actually be more demanding for the top players.
Do you remember when New Zealand made their bow in South Africa?
Yeah.
They
were
actually
great.
went undefeated and didn't qualify.
They were
Good
great.
Pub ammo. Everyone was sceptical about them, and they drew 3 games.
But I think this point about, well, they say it's not going to take longer than a month, and they say all this stuff, it's bollocks. They said the exact same things. Qatar will happen in summer. It now has to happen in winter. It's only going to be a matter of time before they go back on all these promises. The revenue is going to create an extra $1 billion, apparently, just by having the extra teams. $1 billion for FIFA. So already, we know why they're doing it. It's all about money. That's what it comes down to. There's no surprise that North America are happy, and the USA in particular, because this effectively guarantees them the 2026 World Cup. Just because it's such a big country, it's going to need so many stadia to fill. 16 groups. 16 groups. Could you imagine going to the MetLife Stadium, 80,000 seater that is, to watch Burkina Faso versus Iran? How many people are going to show up to that game in the flesh? 20,000 maybe? They're not going to pack out an 80k, are they? It's ridiculous. It's all about the money. I'm not happy.
Show me the money.
I'm not a happy bunny. But what do you guys at home think? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Bang it in the comments right about now. The next question comes from a galaxy far, far away. Oh, get your lightsabers ready, lads. This one's from Boba Fett. He says, who do you think is going to become the next super club in Europe? Ooh, it's a great question.
Oh, yeah, first, you little Sith Lord.
Well,
Go on, mate.
We should do a top 10
Go on,
about
Darth
this.
Maul.
Good one. I think probably Red Bull Leipzig, mate. They've got so much money. They're just up to their balls in money. They've got they've got a really young squad, and they're already competing for the Bundesliga. So in 3 or 4 years' time, if they can keep hold of those guys, they'll be absolutely unstoppable, mate.
Big if.
Oh, big if. All right. Haven't thought about it. Move on.
Move on.
You've got a few teams that have flirted with becoming big-time contenders in their various domestic leagues. You've got like Napoli, Sevilla, but eventually they get picked apart.
Yeah.
So I'm very sceptical that any team out there can really break the current hegemony. RB Leipzig, different kettle of fish, up to their fucking balls in cash.
Yeah.
Manchester City are becoming a super club off the field as well as on it now.
That academy.
Aren't they? With their academy, you got Tixi Bigristan pulling all the the various ropes.
Pep Guardiola as well.
What are you talking about?
The club's got Pep's instilling his philosophy there. So hopefully we'll see some youth coming from those ranks.
No.
And take over, Joe, because I'm out.
I'm going to go for Tottenham Hotspur. It's a bit an interesting one. It might be a little bit down the line, but I think that new stadium's properly going to kick them up.
Yeah.
Up a whole new gear. I think the idea of bringing this NFL pitch into it, I think it's going to generate so much extra revenue for them. They've already well known for producing top young talent. I think if they can keep hold of Pochettino, is a big thing for them. He is one of Europe's best managers, especially at sculpting young talent. They can sign quite small and sell for big Tottenham Hotspur. And I think with the stadium revenue coming in, if they can just break that hegemony of finally finishing above Arsenal, I think they may just suddenly scuttle off, maybe win a Premier League title, and then anything's possible.
If they can sign a player like James Rodriguez or Isco, who they've been constantly linked with, then that'd be a massive signal of intent, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Statement of intent, sorry. But I think, with selling Modric and Bale and relying on players like Eriksen to sort of contribute massively creative-wise, and very dependent on Harry Kane for goals. Lamella's not quite worked out this season. They're still hovering, aren't they?
They are hovering, but I think it's a different scenario with the likes of Harry Kane that you ever had with Gareth Bale or Luka Modric. I actually genuinely don't see Harry Kane leaving Tottenham Hotspur.
No, not in the near future.
How
anyway.
Bale, you always got that feeling he's blown up past,
it's a bit
past
special,
the point. And the same with Modric, he never had a connection to Tottenham. I think Harry Kane has the connection and the potential. I think he could honestly lead that line almost Alan Shearer-esque. I know Shearer moved around.
And the cost is just too much now.
Yeah, the cost would be mental to snipe him away. They've also got Dele Alli coming through the ranks. They've got two of the best fullbacks in the world. They've got a great centre-back partnership, Jan Vertonghen and Alderweireld. If they can just build on the core side they've got, they could be an unbelievable side. But it's all about keeping Pochettino, in my opinion.
Yes.
What do you guys think? Spurs, Man City, RB Leipzig. Who's going to be the next super club? Vote in the poll. Now, it's on there, popped up. Do it. Next question is an interesting one from Liam Smithers. He says, what is the best league for developing young footballers? # Sunday Vibes. I'll kick this one off. I'm going to go for the Eredivisie. I think the question is developing young players, not necessarily finding young superstars, but everybody sends their youngsters. You see Martin Odegaard go there, Bertrand Traore go there. I think young players suited really well to the Eredivisie because everybody is so young across the league.
Yeah.
You get game time there, you have a chance to develop, you're allowed to experience new tactics, new ways of playing football. I think that's the reason that Vitesse Arnhem have got so many Chelsea players on loan, because Chelsea are fully aware that they're going to get game time there. They're going to develop as both footballer and people. I think.
Well, it's a vicious cycle, isn't it, in the Eredivisie? People take their players.
100%.
And they take...
I mean, look at Memphis Depay. It is a pretty hit and miss league. He developed unbelievably in the Eredivisie. Of course, he didn't quite make that next step to Manchester United. Now looks like he's going to move on. But when you're talking about development levels, there's a reason every young player ends up in the Eredivisie at some point in their career. Even like Luis Suarez. the Eredivisie really helped sculpt him as a footballer, I think. Even his time at Groningen, he's talked about being vital to his development. So the Eredivisie for me. What about you, Hamster? What do you think?
I saw a quote recently on Twitter, so I've got my phone out yet again, from Monchi saying the director of football at Sevilla, who's been responsible for scouting some unbelievable talent for the Spaniards, the likes of Carlos Bacca, Krychowiak, Kevin Guerrero. And he said he thinks League One, and I'm inclined to agree with him because the guy is a genius, he thinks League One is the best league in the world.
This is French League One, not British League One.
Yeah, League One, not League One. Not with the likes of Millwall and Preston, with the likes of Rennes, PSG, etc. Yeah. But he said he watches at least 3 games every weekend. He's become obsessed with it, and in 10 years, he says, not one signing from there has let him down. He says he thinks it's the perfect balance between performance, so output, and value for money. So I think that's an interesting one. Did you ask me that yesterday? Yeah, I might have leaned towards the Eredivisie, might have gone La Liga because youngsters are obviously taught to be very technical from a very young age. But after that read, maybe I'll be watching a bit more domestic French football. Maybe not. So,
Probably not. Probably not. But you never know. Pato, what do you say?
I think both those leagues do perform functions, but they don't do everything, and the Bundesliga does that. So
that's a great shout. Yeah.
So I think those players from Liga and people like Krychowiak or Guerrero, they actually went to the Spanish league, and that's when they really blossomed and became superstars. Whereas in the Bundesliga, they get a load of minutes. Young players do get an opportunity to play, but also you get to test yourself against some of the world's best players. That doesn't really happen in those other 2 leagues, particularly not the Eredivisie. Plus, we talk about, the Eredivisie doesn't actually have a lot of tactical innovation at the moment. It's a little bit stagnant at the moment, tactics-wise. Whereas the Bundesliga, that's where we're seeing a bunch of the world's best young coaches come through. People like Hassan Hüttl, people like Julian Nagelsmann, Roger Schmidt is there now, Thomas Tuchel. Yeah. So it now has this incredible wealth of tactical innovation.
The people who like Paul Mercer will describe as laptop managers. Pretty much now coming through. Nagelsmann,
Yeah, who was it? Chris Boyd, the ex-Rangers striker, who described the new
Ian
Hearts, Ian Cathro, as a laptop manager. All he does is hide behind his Mac.
Because he's not an ex-pro and it's not jobs for the boys and people can't handle it. Oh no!
Fuck off, Chris Boyd.
If you think Chris Boyd should fuck off, let us know in the comments below.
The next question comes from Kazmi, who says, who is the most underrated goal scorer in Europe? Hashtag Sunday Vibes. Patrick Van Straten, kick us off, please, mate.
Here at all.
It's a great question.
It's actually quite hard to find underrated goal scorers, right?
Yeah, because that's the most publicised position, isn't it?
Yeah, but Edinson Cavani, probably. I mean, everyone talks about how he's shit, and to be fair, he does miss some absolutely insane chances. But
sitters.
He goes more than a goal a game. He goes more than a goal a game for PSG. He had to play on the wing for them when Zlatan Ibrahimovic was there, and he still put up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
In the Napoli days, I remember him having to make defensive sacrifices so Lavezzi could get forward. So actually, he's kind of made sacrifices his whole career. For Uruguay, moved wide so that Suarez can go through the middle, and he still has an absolutely disgusting goal-scoring record. Yeah. So Cavani.
It's a shame almost, isn't it, with Cavani? Because social media kind of picks him apart, picks his errors. Yeah. They're highlighted so vividly. When he misses an open goal or misses a penalty, that everybody goes,
there was a period at the start of the season where he became a bit of a joke, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But then he scored a goal a game for the next 15 games.
Yeah, which he just continuously does. So it's a shame about Cavani, but he is a hell of a goal scorer. What about you, Hamster?
I don't know, I was trying to think then when Pato was saying, I mean, you've got people like Anthony Modeste in the Bundesliga outscoring Lewandowski, so he's in a really good vein of form. He's having a bit of a purple patch, but maybe Harry Kane, who's got about 58 or 59 goals, I believe, in 96 appearances, maybe.
Under 100, definitely.
Is a stat I heard at the weekend. Yeah, and he's got, in his full 2 seasons at Tottenham, he's got 20 goals plus in both seasons. Now that already puts him in a very elite band of strikers. Michael Owen never achieved it. Didier Drogba only achieved it twice. You've got the likes of Fernando Torres only achieving it once. And in 2 full seasons, he's got 20 goals or plus, as I said, and he's on 10 already this season.
In just 15 games, though, he's scored 10 and 15 already.
Barring those barren spells at Leicester, Millwall, and Norwich, thank you, where he did absolutely jack shit. The guy's coming to the game relatively late by modern standards, and he's just been on flame since. And we might see the best might be yet to come.
Yeah, I mean, 10 goals this season already, and he had that massive injury layoff as well, didn't he? So
and he didn't score at the start of last season for 8 or 9 games.
Exactly, it's incredible. I'm going to go for Jonas though over at Benfica. He's slightly older, but he just bangs in goals for fun in Liga NOS, doesn't he? 32 goals last season. This season he's had a few injury problems, but came back at the weekend against Victoria, scored straight away. He's like the hub of that team, isn't he? I know he plays up front with Mitroglou, and Mitroglou was fairly dodgy at the likes of Fulham and stuff, so maybe people will say, well,
decent
Liga North,
partnership, Mitroglou and Jonas.
Shit. But Jonas is a hell of a goal scorer. He outscored 3 Liga NOS teams last season just by himself. Carried Benfica to the title, basically. I mean, he's a hell of a title. Nobody talks about him either, do they? Like, he's Brazilian. There's other hype around other Brazilian strikers.
Well, no one's going to buy him because he's gone past that age point.
Yeah,
Exactly.
what is he, 28, 29 maybe?
No, I think he's
He's like 30. He's old.
Post-30s.
Yeah, he's post 30. And you look at the Brazilian front line, you've got like some Gabriel Jesus coming through. Neymar, he's not going to get in over. Even the likes of Fred have probably got more international starts than him. So he doesn't get talked about for Brazil, but for Benfica, he's a fucking weapon.
Brazilian Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah, Brazilian Teddy Sheringham.
Fine wine.
Yeah, lovely. Final question then comes from Michael O'Brien, probably not
Jesus.
Irish, so I've just racially abused someone. Sorry, Michael. He says, which older player would you like to see win a major trophy before they retire? Hashtag Sunday vibes. Lovely question to finish on. What do you think, Hamster? Who would you go for,
Oh, mate. Well, just read Zlatan's book. It's a good read. Terribly written, but it's a good read.
mate? Yeah, because it wasn't written in English, was it? It was just translated.
It was a ghostwriter, basically, and he was writing it as Zlat says it, which is sometimes not the greatest grammar, but you know,
not a recipe.
who are we to judge? Yeah, I think he's got a tremendous domestic record. Won the league title everywhere he's been, barring Manchester United, obviously, so far. And he's yet to win a Champions League. And that'd be a shame for a player of that calibre not to win that trophy.
Agreed.
Although that would mean Man United winning the Champions League. So, you know.
Yeah, it's a toss-up, isn't it?
It is a bit of a toss-up. Not for me, though, because we're going to do it. No, we're not. Go on. What are you saying, Pat?
Francesco Totti. I mean,
great shout,
he's won Serie A, he's won the World
Great
Cup,
shout. World
but I would love him to win either another title or the Champions League. He's got 1 league title.
Yeah,
that's not enough for a player.
He's a player you want to see walk off into the sunset, isn't it? Just
such a shame.
emblazoning glory.
He's one of the greatest players of the last 30 years, and he deserves a bigger trophy cabinet than he's got.
Redefined a position. What a fucking
Well, he
guy.
redefined about 3 positions.
I'm going to go for Buffon. I mean,
Yeah,
I
great
genuinely
shout.
think.
Same vein.
I think Buffon's the best keeper in history.
And just a fucking nice guy.
Honestly,
He's a class guy.
Just a lovely guy, and he's
Got
never
great
won the
judgment.
Champions League. He's finished runner-up twice, and it's such a shame. I'd love in his last season, lifts the Champions League, bows out. That'd be a hell of a way to go out. It really would.
Can't argue with that.
Like Xavi when he left Barcelona, he left with the treble, didn't he?
think you're right.
I'd love Buffon.
I'd rather see Buffon win it than Zlat, actually. So
Yeah.
Come
I'm
on,
with you
Buff.
on that.
So that's all we've got time for today, sadly. But what do you think the score's going to be this afternoon? Man United versus Liverpool, Everton versus Man City. Some big games
Go on
there.
then, quick one. Man United, Liverpool, go.
1-0. 1-0. 2.
Shut your neck out there.
Just battling it out head to head. Anyway, make sure you get your questions in using the hashtag Sunday Vibes to our Twitters, to Facebook, and in the comments below. We'll try and answer them. We can't answer all of them. There are a lot of questions. Thanks very much to Chris and Pato for joining me. That's it wrapped up. Bye.